Hi, I'm Terry with Cornerstone. Believe it or not, this outdoor full masonry wraparound kitchen and bar can be built in less than a day. That's right, it's full masonry, got real limestone countertops. You can get it with all these appliances and you can build it easily within a day. Okay, let's meet the Unity L outdoor corner kitchen and bar. Why is it the Unity L? It's cleverly named for its L-shaped corner bar, and which can easily seat 4 adults, 1 here and 3 down this long end. Actually, I'm all done. Gotta get back to the dogs. It comes with natural limestone countertops, 2-inch thick slabs, in sizes that are easy for you to handle as a DIYer and install. You can get it with an optional sink, and we'll even cut this slab for you. Of course, adding a sink will add expense, probably not very DIY because you have to run water and plumbing and drainage for your outdoor kitchen, but if you want it, that's there. And if you want to run electrical, you can get this stainless steel outdoor fridge. Fits perfectly. If you haven't already done so, you're gonna want to watch our video on getting the first course completely level, little tips and tricks on that and how important that is. So I'm going to assume you've watched that. And on this build, I got a little tip. It's going to be in the instructions. But if you see this inner block box here, start laying this inner box. This is the box that your fridge goes in, maybe your plumbing. Start with this inner box. And what I did is I laid it first, made sure it was all square. And then I laid this outer footrest starting in this corner and laid it out this way around this box. And there are going to be some extra block that we put in here in the instructions. You don't need to glue any of these blocks to the foundation. But if you do have to mortar some blocks to go on top of some bluestone or something to get it just level, be sure you don't mortar the spacer blocks in there. But to remove some of these extra blocks that you don't need, like I've used this block just as a spacer to get this gap right, but these blocks here aren't needed. And instead of trying to wiggle them out and grabbing them, you might push some blocks out of the way. Just take these blocks that are open to the inside. You can just easily slide it forward. And once you've slid that one out, you can easily just slide these out of place away from your blocks, and now they won't go anywhere. These also need to slide out. I can either slide this one this way with this diagonal, I can just pull this one in. Once I pull that one in, I can just pull these out, and now I've got my first course. When I remove those blocks, I didn't disturb anything, and I'm ready to keep building. Look, our first chipped block. I'm gonna face it to the inside. I don't think it'd make a big difference if it were to the outside, but I'm gonna take this chip, I'll face it to the inside where no one will ever see it. Won't hurt a thing. Okay, the back wall is coming up, and I wanted to talk to you about keeping all this straight. If you've watched all my videos, then you know what I'm going to tell you. If not, I suggest you watch them. They're great family fun. Everybody can watch them, and they're super entertaining. I can't get my daughter to watch them. Maybe you can get your daughter to watch it. Anyway, forgive all the sweating. It's 92 out here right now. It's not so much the blocks, it's the humidity. I think that's what they say. Anyway, to keep these all in a straight line, I'm gonna use my level, not as a level, it should all be set level, but as a straight edge, and put across here to make sure all my blocks are in a nice straight line. And as I can see, this block needs to come this way. They just need to tap in a little bit. I'm just bringing them to the face of my level, just like in all my other videos. And now they're nice and straight. So I'm just gonna continue to build, making sure to wipe off and keep every course clean. I use the power blower, you can use a brush. Just make sure you keep it clean so the glue adheres. As you build this, you'll probably notice there's a little gap here where the blocks round out and the theoretical points would touch. Just build plumb from the corners. We're gonna fill that in at the very end. So this will be taken care of. It's just later on in the instructions. Okay, everything's been going along great. It's been a really easy build. We've just been making courses, laying everything flat, keep it clean, adhere them together, make sure everything's straight and level and plumb. But we're to the first course. It looks a little different. As you'll notice on this court, we've got some vertical blocks, and I'm going to show you how to put those in here. I'm going to finish out this course. On these, you are going to want to center them. So just sort of center them by feeling it with your fingers, and within a couple millimeters is fine. You don't have to be perfect on that. Also, I would recommend gluing these two blocks together. So as you glue, you can glue the course to the course below, but just go ahead and adhere these blocks together so that they're acting as one unit. All right, let's get into it and I'll show you how to build this corner so you don't have any questions. What you're looking for is this block with the cut. And this one is gonna go right next to this one. Glue them together, glue it down. And they should be flush. The back end should be flush. And what this is cutout's gonna allow, it's gonna allow that fridge to come back in here and sit right in here. And after that, we're just going to keep building. Now, this might be the trickiest part. We've got extensions on both corners, but we don't want them to hit. So we center up another block with the same overhang. We're going to do one here. Now we can't double this block or this would hit. So what we're going to do is put an 8-inch block here. It's an 8-inch block. So now there's room here. And then we want an 8-inch block here. And that's going to go right there. And now in this corner, put a block in the corner. And then this is done. And this is supposed to be this way. You just want to make sure these are flush and these are flush. And if you want to check the overhang, I just put my finger like this, put my finger like that, make sure they the same overhang. Just lock them in. It's all good. Now that we have these support blocks, which obviously aren't glued, we're just gonna span this opening with some block. And then when we get our countertop on there, the weight will hold it and we can remove these. Okay, in your materials, you're gonna wanna find these 2 cut blocks. As you can see, this is a medium wedge, just cut in half. And we're gonna place it along the front here. What you wanna make sure you do is you don't wanna expose the cut part to the front. You wanna make sure that the factory finish is on the front, just like that. And this will allow room in here for our sink to go in and our bowl to be able to fit in here.
It's time to cover the unsightly gap in your bar. Find your trim stones and find your favorite outside corner. You're gonna take that best corner and you're gonna stack them up, gluing that corner toward the gap on the inside of your bar. That way it'll cover that gap and no one can see into your bar.
The same reason I'm not going to glue these blocks, it's a temporary build. I'm going to use sand instead of mortar. Your mortar may come in a tube, it may come in a bag, but the concept's the same. So I'm just going to use sand. We're going to pack these joints with mortar. And then once we've got mortar in there, we're going to take our support iron and put it in there. Now, to get the support iron flat, you can use a block. You just want to tap it down till it's level with everything else. Just want to make sure it's flush with the surrounding block. You don't want it sitting proud, or you don't want it going in. You just want it level. Now what you're going to want to do is let that set up. That'll be nice and level for you to put your stones on. Installing the drawer unit is ridiculously easy. We supplied you with 2 pieces of composite material, and these are going to act as sleds to put in here to slide it up on. What you're going to do is you're just going to run a bead of glue on the rough side. You want to use the rough side because that will increase the surface area for the adhesion of the glue. You're just going to glue that. You're going to glue one in that side. You glue one in the other. And trust me, that glue, it is not coming off. So you're just going to glue those in there. And once they adhere, you'll just pick up the drawer and slide it in there. Tight fit, so just wiggle it in, and pretty soon you'll have this lovely stainless drawer. Just that simple.
Instead of using screws, I like to wedge a piece of dense foam between the top of my drawers and the stones to compress it in, so when I open and close the drawers, it doesn't wiggle when it's empty.
The first thing you want to do is take the door out of your cabinet. You're just going to pull this hinge, and this door will come right out. And then you want your frame. You got to start with your frame. Now, this is the way it's going to open. If you want to open this way, flip this side. So as you install it, be sure you keep it the way you want it. I want it to open this way. In your kit, we include these 2 pieces of composite lumber. You're going to put one. What you're going to want to do is glue the rough side, not the smooth side. The rough side has more surface area for the glue to bond to. We're going to glue one here. We're going to glue one here. Go ahead and bring those close to the front. Now, I'm not gluing it because I'm making a bunch of them, but those will be glued in. Trust me, it's not going anywhere. All right, what you're going to want to do is then insert your frame, and it will insert Once your frame's in, you're going to want to take, we will include these, but just in case they fall off the truck, Jake forgets them, you lose them. These are number 14 by 3/4 inch sheet metal panhead screws. You're going to want to take those and screw them into this buck that you've glued to your thing. And that'll just screw right in there. You don't even need to pre-drill. Just hand tight, don't strip it. We're just going to do that in all these slots, and then we will be able to put our door in. So right now we're just going to put our screws in, and that will hold our frame to our buck. Our buck is glued to our stones.
After your frame is secured, simply use the spring hinges and align your door to the holes of your frame and install it. It's really easy.
What you want to do is dry lay these stones first. And that's going to allow you to lay them out and get them set up where you want. And that'll also allow you to figure out where you need to mortar it, if you need to shim or trim anywhere, and just exactly how they need to be laid out. Now, if you're a professional or you're old school, you can use traditional mortar. We do ship you mortar in a tube, and when you use that, you want to get it maybe about an inch from the edge, not right to the edge, because when it goes down, you don't want it squishing out on your block, and then it's sort of harder to clean up than standard mortar. So, you want to keep it away from the very edge. When you're dry laying these blocks to get them set up before you mortar them, you're going to want to give them about 1.5 knuckles to 2 knuckles of clearance here. And the reason for that is twofold. For one, later when you go to set them, you'll be able to hold on to the edge, and your buddy will be able to hold on this edge, and you'll be able to set them down and get your fingers out and lay them right where you need to lay them. And you won't have to worry about moving them out of the way or sliding them. They'll just go right where they need to go. The other is, by putting this overhang on there, you don't have to worry about too much how that mortar joint looks. As if it were right on the edge, you would need that perfect tooled mortar joint, and you would see that mortar joint. So we're going to hide that with the overhang. It looks better, and it's going to give you that sort of safety margin so you don't smush your fingers. How do you know exactly where you want to lay them? Once you lay them all out like you want, and you've looked and you've noticed, oh, here I need to add a little extra mortar and almost no mortar there, or maybe you need to add a 1/4 shim or something, you get your plan. Set them all up where you want, and then leave this end one. After you leave this end one, you can remove these two. And then you put your mortar on the stones, keeping it about 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch from the edge, so you don't get the squish out. You can kind of vary that depending on how thick you need to put the mortar down. And then, since this one's here, this is your guide to know where to put this other one. This one will be nice and straight. You and your buddy will come in here with your Knuckle allowance, this overhang, and you can gently lay it right on the mortar without having to do too much wiggling around. You can just put the edge flush to this one, and make sure this edge comes flush to this one as your guide block. And then of course, once this one's laid, you'll do the same with this, no problem. Tap this with your hammer, get it all level, get your straight edge, make sure it's all straight. It shouldn't be too off because, it should be using this as your guide. Once these two are in place and mortared, now you can remove this one. This one is a lot easier to get under. There's a lot more ways to get your hands in and out of this one. Pick this one up, mortar it, and then once again, you and your helper, your good buddy, you can come in here and then abut this one to these stones. They're already laid and mortared. Level them out, tap them down. If you do need to sort of slightly pry one up and add some more mortar, it's all easy to do. You don't have to worry if you got a little gap in your mortar, a little bit of squeeze out or anything. It'll all be hidden under here. compared to your top stones, these bottom stones are super simple. There's almost nowhere they can go. This one wedges in as it's stuck in the corners, and this one just abuts to it in the end. It's pretty straightforward. I would say don't worry about putting mortar between these stones and your stone. For one, that'll allow water to drain in there, but also it'll just complicate the process of you having to have a nice tooled mortar joint there. Plus, it's not necessary, especially when you have the overhang. This will just go right together. You can abut them. If a professional wants to come in here with real mortar and mortar these, that's fine. But they also know that this isn't on a footing that is below the frost line. So that means it's not going to be immovable. So any mortar joint you may want to put between these, once again, not recommended, but you'll want it sort of a plastic sort of mortar so it can give a move because this is outside. So that would be how you lay these. Much easier than laying this top section. Not that it's terribly difficult, but you know, much easier. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Okay, yeah, that's about it for me. This is it for the Unity L-shaped outdoor corner kitchen and bar. Hopefully you stuck with me. You saw how this isn't just some run-of-the-mill stainless roll cart you get at a big box store. This is a full masonry, natural limestone countertops, built-in outdoor kitchen with listed outdoor appliances. Fits all of our other outdoor kitchen modules. You can add on to it. You can put it with it. It'll match your fireplace. And you can have it for cheaper, faster, and easier than you ever thought you could. Be sure to like and subscribe. I go over all of our outdoor kitchen modules, how to build them, what to expect, and find out which ones are right for you.